Hello, I'm Cho, and today I'm going to tell you how to solve the Polaris Cube. So let's start. So how to solve a Polaris Cube? You scramble. First, how you turn it is the hardest part. You get all of these like that, then scramble up. By the way, you can also turn these, so it's kind of hard. But I got a 45-second solve, so I'm thinking like, oh yeah, I should get a tutorial inside of Polaris Cube. So let's start. So the first part is making one face. This is kind of a cube and a pyramid in one cube. So a cube, first you get one side and get another side and then do the centers. But in Polaris Cube you could kind of cheat. So if you just scramble it out more, then you can see that you can like twist a corner. So if that is still that, it's still solved. So what I'm saying is, that is solved. If it's still like that, it wouldn't be solved in a cube, but you could just solve it like that. Bam. And that is why the Polaris Cube part is very easy. If you know how to solve a cube, then just solve the cube part. But if you don't, the first side shouldn't be too hard. Oh my gosh, now you're doing 2 tutorials today. And then, so we have like one face right now. How you see that you're solved, you probably will try like that. And if it isn't solved, you could see it is a diagonal swap. So diagonal swap, you just swap it diagonally. So that all is. So you get the diagonal pieces solved. Then actually this first step is kind of intuitive. So yeah, you just could do it. And then you can see that now one face is solved. It's kind of confusing. So then you can see a center in case I done red. So that should be orange. You find the orange center, like in this case. If it's just like in the top part, you get skip, which is great. But if you don't, like, for example, you get this. That's the red. Then you just find the red center, no, the orange center, this sledge. A sledge is an algorithm down, down, up, up, and that's the sledge. Now, you can see a lot of, now there's 4 cases. No, there isn't. There's only 3 cases to learn. Just get it. If you like align this again, get the centers right. Otherwise it'll be very annoying later. Like that. If you align it, then you can see it is kind of in this pattern. That is solved, not solved, not solved, not solved. That case, you get the solved side in. So if you get like in this angle, which this isn't like a checkerboard pattern, it's kind of confusing. But if it isn't, then so first you have that in there, and you look at that, it isn't the right spot. Then just see it the other side. So no, yes, and then that white center should be in there. So you rotate like that, and then actually was doing red, but just all online of the pieces, and then from here do the algorithm sledgehammer, that 4 mover that I talked. And then do that, and then do a sledgehammer. That should solve every of your centers, the ski part. But there's even more interesting cases that you could do. So now, for example, I'm making a case. So, okay, let's see. This case isn't too hard, but we're gonna make a harder case. For example, oh my gosh, this wouldn't be easy to make a Polaris Cube, so let me just bring a cube in. Yeah, sometimes pieces pop. Don't worry. So let me just bring the cube right now. Bam. For example, you might get a swap. That algorithm is a sledgehammer, a hedgehammer, which is just the opposite of a sledge, and then a sledgehammer. That's the Y perm. Oh, and by the way, there's also another case called a Z perm, which is kind of annoying. It is one of the longest cases, which I hate so much. So let me just make the Z perm. There is another algorithm for Z perm, but I don't know the algorithm. The easier way to do it is just do this algorithm that I taught you. Then now you should get that case. And just do the all. Bam. So get rid of the cube. Bye bye. And then now we're gonna set off in the Polaris Cube journey. So wait just a moment. Oh, I gotta just solve this. But now we gotta actually literally solve the tips. I use a method called hit the target. So usually there should be one of them solved like that. This part is kind of confusing. If there isn't, then just for example, just think that and that isn't solved, then nothing is solved. Oh no. Find a random corner. If you find a piece, like in example that should go in there, then you do that. You could see that on there, and you could just get the slot inside there. That's how this method works. Like when you have that and that not in the right place, there's a pattern. So if you're finding this piece, then it should be like in that. So it never occurs in this case. This never occurs. But there's two of those pieces which could be kind of confusing, but you gotta just find the right piece. By the way, some people use this finger trick, which is horrible. Don't use that finger trick. Just like regrip. Not in geometry though. So align it with its right spot. Do that. Turn. So we're gonna actually use this algorithm. That. Or we could also use that. So just remember that's no 1, that's no 2. So now we're gonna start solving the other tips. So we gotta find that piece, the red blue piece. Oh, we gotta find that one. There should be another one, but it is already inside there, so that is the only one. Sometimes that could be also not in a slot, then you could just find the right piece. We can't put it in there because it is in an impossible position. So you're gonna have that piece. We could do the number 1 alg, but that isn't right. You're gonna make it in the other spot, like there. So first leave it on that and that. That don't work. So if we put that piece inside this piece, we'll do it like that. That. Not in the correct spot, but in the correct tip, but in the other way, in the other part. So you could see it's inside there. Now, you're gonna find the white and red piece. There's that piece and there's already inside there. So in this case, we don't want literally we don't want to get that in there. So we could do it in 1 alg. So like for example, we don't want to get this inside there and then going into there. It is kind of confusing, but we want it in one So that's why I'm saying we don't want to get that inside there and then in here again. We could just do it in one arc. So there. You make it just in the right spot to become like that. So we do the number 2 arc in this case, and then bam, you should be solved one of them. But don't do that. It's gonna be restricted, so just do it like that. And then keep repeat. For example, like that. So my solution will be, oh, they're solved. Put it out there very fast. And then, oh, luckily there is that piece again. Luca and Polaris Cube is very good. So we're gonna see there isn't anything solved, which isn't a good case. So this is the case that I'm saying, which could be hard for beginners. So we're gonna find that piece in this slot. Oh, we have that piece. So if you wanna find that piece, it is just the same, but I'm just getting a example. So we have that piece going to here. But in case we get it like that, it did like align it, bam, bam. Yeah, this is why I'm saying don't use this finger trick. That isn't great. Bam, bam, bam. Done. So we're gonna keep repeating it. The second thing shouldn't be in the right spot. The second piece shouldn't go in the right spot, but in the right tip. Third piece in the right spot, and then it will just solve in like 1 second. Let's see. So we're gonna do it like that, and luckily sometimes that goes in. In those cases, we're gonna have a good part. And yes, this is the alg that I'm gonna tell you. This is an alg called chicken feet. So if you want to do this, there's 2 kinds of chicken feet. In this case, we're going to do like that. That got going there. So pull up that. So there's one case that can repeat this. Or there's another case which repeats this. Or if you just don't want to get annoying cases, just do 2 times of anything until it's solved 1 time or 2 times. But it isn't a good way to solve it. It isn't advanced. Yes, the last 2 edges should be in diagonals. If it isn't diagonal, yeah, it should be diagonal, guys. If you solve it like that. But there's a paired case that you gotta learn. It's 2 swap, and now you gotta have some geometry skills. So this is a sexy move in geometry. And if you do it fast, you could do it like that. So that is the sexy move. And then we're gonna see. So get aligned in like that. But if you align it like this, then it won't work because it's what it swaps is, it swaps these 2 pieces and these 2 pieces. So that is why. So you don't want to put it like that because it's gonna swap these 2, which is kind of annoying. You'll get like in there, these 2, these 2. So we're gonna do a Polaris Cube sexy is kind of different. Align that. We're gonna do this. The number 1 alg. Bam! Now, no. You aren't solved until you do all of those. Until you do all of this. Bam! Done. That is the Polaris Cube tutorial. Thank you for watching and please subscribe. Bye!